Opened in 1991, the National Civil Rights Museum, located in downtown Memphis, Tennessee, showcases the deep legacy of positive social change in America. But it may be best known for all things related to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s fateful last visit to Memphis in 1968.
Bells will begin tolling shortly here and around the country about the time the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the balcony of the motel this day in 1968.
The bells chime 39 times, once for each of the years Dr. King lived.
Does it feel like it's been 50 years?
Feels like it was yesterday.
Tracy Potts joins us this morning from Memphis, Tennessee with more. Tracy, good morning.
Hey there, Darlene. Good morning. This is expected to be a big one. Tens of thousands of people coming here, many of them already here.
Victor, a lot happening there today.
Erica, there are thousands of people here at this all-day ceremony, and at moments it is a memorial, and there are moments of solemnity, and then at moments it's a celebration.
Walk me through the last day Dr. King was alive.
Well, we had spent much of the weekend before, and he went through a kind of agony. He said, maybe I've done as much as I could do in 13 years.
Americans across the country paused to reflect on 50 years since the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Memorial observances were held around the country yesterday. Church bells tolled just after 6 p.m. in Memphis, the moment Dr. King was gunned down at the Lorraine Motel.
Dr. King was 39 when he was murdered. This remembrance was designed to honor the movement he led and to remind America of his unfinished vision.
A large crowd gathered in Memphis to mark the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. The main event was held at the Lorraine Motel, which is now the National Civil Rights Museum. Last night, speakers stood on the very spot of the balcony where King was shot in 1968.
Lorraine Motel, Memphis. Vor 50 Jahren kommt Martin Luther King hier aus seinem Zimmer 306. Da trifft die Kugel eines Scharfschützen den Bürgerrechtler.
Commemorations are being held across the USA today to remember the moment that Dr. King was shot by a white supremacist. It happened in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to join my colleague Clive Myrie, who's in Memphis for us this evening, with the latest on the events there. Clive?
Yes, Hugh, commemorations got underway in the last couple of hours or so. We've had a few speakers on the podium there behind me. This, of course, is the Lorraine Motel. It's now the National Civil Rights Museum, but
people across the U.S. are remembering the civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. They held ceremonies and performances to mark the 50th anniversary of his assassination.
O Hotel Lorraine foi transformado em museu, virou lugar de peregrinação. O quarto preservado deixa a sensação de que ainda não era hora de despedir.
I would describe it as almost like a pilgrimage of people young and old from here in Memphis and across the country coming here not to just honor the legacy of Dr. King, but really to recommit themselves to the struggles that he fought against.
The people have gathered at the Lorraine Motel for the official ceremony commemorating the 50th anniversary of the assassination of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr.
Good afternoon, Stephanie and Greg. It has been a day of inspiration, a day of reflection as thousands of people, not just from Memphis, Tennessee, not just from the nation, but the entire world have come to Memphis, come to the National Civil Rights Museum to commemorate the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and what his life and legacy meant.
We are going to go back for more of the celebratory events that are happening at the National Civil Rights Museum. That looks like Mark Morial, that is at the podium now, the former mayor of New Orleans.
Well, hey, Katina and Richard, it is a packed house inside with people getting firsthand accounts from those who were on the front lines of the civil rights movement with Dr. King. And it was also a history lesson here tonight for some of those new movement makers. Now, the theme of this MLK50 event, sponsored by the National Civil Rights Museum, is called Where Do We Go From Here?
Of storytelling of the civil rights fight for justice and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Great freedom fighters we have here today: Diane Nash, Marion Wright Edelman, Jesse Jackson.
You had to stay in control of your emotions.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank
Dean Rudd, Dean Letzo, President Freeman, for inviting me here today.
It's the tenacity of the movement that changed the direction of my life's interests against my will, because it lasted so long over a crucial period of my life. I was in first grade the year of the Brown decision.
Our goal with this panel is to figure out how far we've come in the area of criminal justice in the last 50 years, and also how far do we have to go to a fair justice system for all.
Very emotional time for me and my family.